pendientes serán contestadas vía correo electrónico a los asistentes. Pueden hacer sus preguntas en español y nosotros daremos soporte para que sean respondidas. También les recordamos que en el menú a la izquierda de sus pantallas podrán acceder a la información de los conferencistas y agendar citas para conocer más de su portafolio. Ahora damos la bienvenida al señor Simon Jay de la compañía Plasmac SRL con su representante Ineco, con la conferencia Recycling and Upgrading for Profit, The New Green Business Frontier. El señor Jay tiene más de 30 años de experiencia en la industria del reciclaje y extrusión de plástico en funciones tanto técnicas como comerciales, habiendo trabajado anteriormente para los fabricantes de maquinaria de extrusión Reifenhauser, Gloucester Engineering y Davis Standard. Ha trabajado durante los últimos 6 años en Plasmac, anteriormente con Plasmac Ltd. En el Reino Unido y ahora con Plasmac SRL en Milán, Italia, como director de ventas y marketing y responsable por promover su gama de maquinaria de reciclaje en todo el mundo. Welcome, Mr. Jay.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your time and thank you for inviting me to the conference. I'd like to talk to you today about Plasmac and the Syncro Group. Plasmac is part of the Syncro Group. The Syncro Group comprises a number of different manufacturing facilities and worldwide sales and service offices. We have Syncro, based in Milan, Italy, Plantech CST, based in Modena, Italy, and Plasmac SRL, based also in Milan, Italy. Plasmac is also a partner with the Maguire Company. They have a joint venture and sell the Maguire plus Syncro brand of equipment all over the world. We also have sales and service offices in the USA, in South America, Japan, India, Asia. We're also part of the Arema Group. The Arema Group is the world's largest recycling machinery manufacturer and comprises a number of different companies also within that group. There is Arema itself for their counter-rotating preconditioning unit recycling systems. There is PureLoop for their integrated shredder extruder systems. There is Plasmac for the inline recycling systems and our shredder extruder machines, as well as UMAC for used machines, 3S for core components such as screws, barrels, Powerfeed for screen changers, and Keycycle, who are a project management company to manage large projects, for instance, with a washing plant and a recycling machine. They also have sales and service offices globally. In terms of where Plasmac is based, as I mentioned, we're based in Milan, Italy, as well as Syncro and Plantech. Arema is based in Austria. And then, as I mentioned, we have sales and service offices in North America, Japan, Hong Kong. We have a manufacturing site also in China, and we have a sales and service office in India and in South America. Over and above this, we have global sales representation all over the world, and in Colombia, we are represented by Ineco. In terms of Plasmac's history, we were set up in 1994, and this is when we sold our first alpha machine into the market. In 2004, we sold our first Amiga machine, and we now have over 1,500 machines installed globally. In 2017, Syncro took full ownership of Plasmac, and we joined the Syncro Group, and in 2018, we relocated to Milan, or to Busto Arsizio near Milan. Arema took a 60% share in the business in 2019, and this is when we set up Plasmac SRL. In 2020, we will shortly launch a new machine range, and also by the end of this year, we will move into a new production facility and open a new technical and R&D lab. In terms of our current product range, we have 2 machines. We have the Alpha and we have the Amiga. I'd firstly like to take you through the Alpha machine. The Alpha machine comes in a number of different sizes, from the Alpha 35 up to the Alpha 90. The Alpha 35 is an air-cooled pelletized machine only. The Alpha 80 and 90 are water-cooled only due to their outputs. but the other machines in between can be either air or water cooled depending on the material that we are repelletizing. The outputs go from 25 kilos an hour max on the Alpha 35 up to 240, 250 kilos an hour max on the Alpha 90, but we can also go down as low as 4 to 5 kilos on the Alpha 35. The machines have a very broad processing window. All of our machines are based around what we call our dual diameter screw technology. This short screw technology has a number of different benefits. One of the key ones is the output per kilowatt of installed power, and we would typically expect to see an output between 3.5 and 5 kilograms per kilowatt, or 0.2 to 0.2526 kilowatts per kilogram. Because of our screw design, we have low shear, we have minimum dwell time within the screw, and therefore the absolute minimal material degradation. It also means the machine have a very small footprint, saving valuable floor space. We call this a direct extrusion machine, and that basically means that we don't need any prior size reduction before we feed the material into the screw. So as you will see on the top left-hand photo, we're feeding the roll material directly onto the screw as well as the trims. This is an example of one of our screws. The screws in the Alphas are typically an 8:1 L to D ratio. We feed the material into the larger feed section. This allows us to get the material, which has a very low bulk density, into the screw. We then compress it through the taper section, and then we go into the 8:1 portion of the screw, where we compress it further and then meter it up to the die. The Alpha machines are typically used in blown film processes for inline reprocessing of trims and reels, and also in injection molding processes for either inline or offline applications, where you can feed the material into a granulator, repelletize it, and then feed it directly back to the injection molding machines. Over and above this, our machines are used on cast film lines. Alphas have been used to recycle pipe and many other different products. I'd like to take you through a couple of case studies for the Alpha. The first is for a blown film application. This customer produced stretch film for both industrial and agricultural applications. So they produce silage wrap for the agricultural industry and machine and hand wrap for the business-to-business industry. They're a well-established company within the stretch film market, and they've been at the forefront of development for many years. They basically said to us that they needed a compact, efficient, standalone system capable of handling their trim and reel scrap. They ran trials at our factory and we proved the solution to them. The customer basically produces high-speed stretch at speeds up to 150 meters a minute, and they were recycling this system for an older repelletizing line, which was producing a lot of dust and limiting their output. The dust from the recycling process was causing them housekeeping issues, and the output was limiting their line speed. Added to this, they were looking to increase the reliability and uptime of their system. By replacing the equipment with a new high-efficiency, low-energy system, this meant that they could increase the output of their line and get their return on investment justified. Their goals to us was to increase or reduce their downtime, by 20%, increase their line speed by 35%, and increase their energy efficiency by 20%, whilst keeping the operator interface to a minimum. What we proposed to them was an Alpha 70 air-cooled machine, an air-cooled pelletizer with a trim basket, a roll feed unit, a manual screen changer, and an air-cooled pelletizer. The customer typically ran metallocene with linear, low densities and LD blends, with or without PIB, and metallocenes with linear, LD and plastomers. Basically, we installed the machine, we commissioned the machine for them, and we fully trained all of their shift machines and have provided ongoing backup and support since. Their feedback was that the Alpha machine met all of their needs and then some. The operators like it because they can forget about it, it simply runs, and Plasmac have gone above and beyond to support them, justifying their decision to purchase from us. But most importantly, the return on investment figures. The customer had an output of 630 tonnes a year. of scrap material. Their energy usage was, or their cost of production, was 0.15 euro cents per kilo. So basically it was costing them 94,500 euros to recycle their scrap. By investing in the new Plasmac machine, they were able to reduce their cost of production down to 11 euro cents per kilo, and they were able to increase their production by 395 tonnes a year, giving them a total saving of 98,000 euros. This basically meant that the machine paid for itself within 1 year. Over and above this, they were able to reduce their downtime for maintenance, they were able to increase the blown line output, reduce their energy costs, improve their working environment, free up valuable floor space, remove the dust, and most importantly, increase their efficiency. The second case study I'd like to show you is from an injection moulding application. This customer supplied automotive parts to the automotive industry. They provided just-in-time products with zero defects, and they've been a supplier to their industry for over 20 years. Purchasing the machine was a no-brainer, they told us, after proving the process, justifying the decision was easy. Basically, they were feeding all of their scrap material into a granulator, and this was either fed back directly into the injection moulding machines or sent away for pelletizing. Dust from the granulation process would cause issues when they fed it back directly. It would cause bridging in the feed throat, or it was causing them defects on the surface of the product. They also had some metal clips that they couldn't always remove, and when this was shredded, they'd often get small metal contamination within the products. The final issue they had was that the outsourced recycled pellet quality was both inconsistent, and it cost them a lot to transport and pay for this recycling. By bringing the process in-house, they hope to remove those transport costs and improve their quality, and by removing the dust, they can increase their efficiency and reduce their defects. The goals that they set us were to increase their efficiency by 20%, reduce their defects by 15%, and reduce their recycling costs by 50%, again whilst keeping the operator interface to a minimum. Here you can see an example of the product that they actually injection moulded, which was the car dashboards. Again, we proposed to this customer an Alpha 70, but this was a water-cooled system with a flake feeder, a manual screen changer, and a water pelletizer, as they run polypropylene with 30% calcium carbonate. Again, we help to train their technical staff, we've provided them ongoing backup and support, and we give them further understanding so that they can give a seamless handover to their production team. Their feedback was that the Alpha machine exceeded all of their expectations. It's simple to operate, incredibly robust, and we can simply leave it alone to run. When we've needed support from Plasmac, they've been on hand to help and guide us for our issues. The return on investment for this project was even more impressive. This customer was paying £350 per tonne to externally recycle 540 tonnes per year, costing them just under 190,000 euros per year to externally recycle. This didn't include the cost of transport. When they brought the process in-house, their cost of production was 23 euro cents per kilo, which meant that their in-house recycling costs were 124,000 euros. This meant the machine paid for itself in less than 8 months. These cost of production figures that I'm giving you include the machine cost, the electricity cost, the labour cost, and any finance costs. The next product I'd like to talk to you about is our Powerfeed system. The Powerfeed system is a pneumatic trim conveying system to convey the trims from the winder to the trim basket. Plasmac takes full turnkey responsibility. Trims arrive at the basket with the minimum amount of exhaust air. Trims are sucked into the manifold and then transported to the discharge point, which is normally the trim basket. A venturi blower conveys the trims, and the air is bled through the pipework to basically get rid of the exhaust air. The result is the trims convey into the trim basket in the best way that's possible for us to then recycle it. When used in conjunction with a Plasmac recycling extruder, we will remove the air through air diffusers as we go down prior to the trim entering the basket. Unlike competitive systems, which are basically just concerned with moving the trims from A to B, so from the winder to the discharge point, Powerfeed is designed to deliver the trims with the absolute minimal amount of exhaust air. So Plasmac is the only machinery supplier that can offer a turnkey, integrated trim conveying and recycling package. Our second big product is the Amiga Shredder extruder machine. This comes in 4 sizes. We have the Amiga Eco, the 150, the 180 and the 250. The Amiga Eco and the Amiga 150 can be either air or water cooled depending on the material that's being repelletized. The Amiga 180 and the Amiga 250, due to their outputs, are water cooled only. The Amiga machines are a one-step process. They're basically able to handle a very wide variety of different forms of scrap material. Using the same dual diameter screw as the Alpha, but with an enhanced geometry and a longer L to D ratio, they can basically handle any form of scrap. So that's loose material, slabbed material, reels, purgings, startup scrap, raffia bags, any form of product. The integrated shredder incorporates a unique screen design. It has a low-speed rotor and generates virtually no heat or dust, meaning the absolute minimum of gels. The size-reduced material is fed into the extruder via a variable speed auger, and again we have market-leading outputs per kilowatt of installed power, even below 0.2 kilowatts per kilogram in certain instances. Again, because of the same screw design as the Alpha, it's low shear, minimum process dwell time, and the absolute minimal material degradation. These are 2 pictures of the shredder rotor and the fixed blades. On the left, you can see the shredder rotor and the ram. The ram pushes material onto the rotor. The ram is controlled by the load that we're measuring on the rotor itself. As the load decreases on the rotor, the ram will push more material onto it. On the right-hand side, you can see the rotor itself with the teeth and the 2 sets of fixed head blades. On this slide, you can see the rotor above the feed auger. Basically, once the material has gone through the shredder, through the rotor, it falls onto the feed auger, and then we use the feed auger to dose the material into the extruder. On the right-hand slide, or the right-hand picture, you can see our screen design. Unlike a traditional shredder where you would have holes, our screen design has what we call a letterbox opening. We're simply shredding the material enough that we can feed it into the auger. We're not shredding it down into a very fine powder or a dust where that would itself generate gels. You'll also notice that there's no cooling water needed on the shredder at all. You can see here on the right hand side the taper barrel leading into the extruder. Absolutely no cooling water needed. This means again we can have an incredibly energy efficient machine. We can put vacuum degassing on the Amigas. We can also do this on the Alphas if necessary. Vacuum degassing would be used for printed material, or if there's some surface moisture, or if it's a biodegradable material which is hygroscopic, for instance. The degassing allows us to remove any steam or volatiles, and because it's a vented system, this would mean that the screw length does increase, and this would typically be a 26 to 28 L to D ratio screw. We also offer a range of screen changers, from a manual screen changer all the way up to hydraulic, manual backflush or fully automatic backflush. If you're running an inline system, we wouldn't normally recommend a screen changer. If you have an offline system, or you're running reels, for instance, on an Alpha, then we would recommend that a screen changer is fitted. For most applications, our manual screen changer is sufficient, but if a customer is running a more contaminated material, then we can happily offer the other options. As with the Alpha, we do 2 pelletizing systems. On the left, you can see our air-cooled pelletizing system, and on the right, a water-cooled pelletizing system. Amigas tend to be more commonly fitted with a water-cooled system. Here you can see a good example of one. We have 2 pumps. One pump pumps the water into the collector where we do the pelletizing. The second pump pumps the water for a heat exchanger and into the tank to keep the tank temperature at a constant level. The collector is fitted onto a linear rail that you can see on the top for very easy opening and easy maintenance. It's a simple yet very robust system. Again, I'd like to take you through a couple of case studies on the Amiga. The first was for a blown film customer that basically produces film for the construction and the retail industries. They basically extrude, they print, and they produce bags in-house. They were established nearly 90 years ago. It's a family-owned business and it concentrates on niche and specialty applications. They needed a flexible machine to handle all of their scrap materials from startup to production scrap. They purchased an Alpha from us in 2015 that ran without issues, and their next step was to move up to an Amiga. The customer produced a lot of roll scrap, but also bag cutout scrap, and they were currently sending all of their material off-site for reprocessing. Their brand owners were pushing them to include more recycled material into their products, so therefore they decided to bring their recycling in-house. Their main issues were the quality of the recycled pellet that they were getting externally and the cost for pelletizing and transport. And the customer also wanted to run mainly roll films, and this was very high slit film. So he wanted to be sure that our roll feed would be sufficient to be the only way that they fed material into the machine. By installing the machine in-house, they could remove the transport costs and ensure their quality. And it also meant that they could meet their brand owners' requirements of including a higher level of reclaimed material. This customer set us goals of reducing their recycling cost by 40%, allowing them to increase their recycled content by an additional 20% and bringing their quality control in-house. They wanted a simple installation with a machine that required, again, very little operator interface. For this customer, we supplied them an Amiga Eco air-cooled system with an elevator, an integrated metal detector, plus a roll feed unit. It had a manual screen changer and an air-cooled pelletizer. The customer mainly ran low density, linear low density with some metallocene blends, but they also added up to 10% polypropylene to improve the film properties. Again, we commissioned the line, fully trained the customer on the operation of the machine. The feedback from the customer was that the Amiga machine allowed them to bring all of their recycling in-house. It's simple to operate. They can run it from either the elevator or the roll feed, but on most occasions the operator simply fills up the roll feed stand and they leave it to run. They were very happy with the original Alpha machine, and the Amiga is performing just as well. The return on investment figures for this customer showed that they were paying €400 a tonne to recycle externally. They were recycling 631 tonnes a year, so this was costing them just over €250,000. By bringing the recycling in-house, their cost of production was €0.3 per kilo. That meant that they were paying just under £190,000 to recycle all of their material, meaning that this machine paid for itself in less than 9 months. They also were able to increase their pellet quality and remove the inconsistency, increase their quality control, ensure the integrity of their recycled material, but most importantly, they met their brand owners' requirements for using more recycled material. The next case study I'd like to take you through is a laminated film case study. This customer provides packaging to the food and beverage industry. They provide barrier packagings as well as laminated packagings of polyethylene and aluminium. The customer was established in 1850. It has 8 manufacturing sites and over 1,800 employees. You can see their products on the right-hand side. This was basically 50% aluminium and either 50% barrier film or 50% PE film. What they said to us was, as part of their commitment to the circular economy, they needed to find a system to allow them to recycle their high barrier film and the aluminium laminates. Plasmac ran trials and showed us that they could do it. The customer produces aseptic packaging of, as I've mentioned, of laminating aluminium to PE or to barrier films. They were producing startup reel scrap and out of specification reel scrap, which they were currently sending away to landfill. The customer, as part of its commitment to the circular economy, and also their major customer brand owners, were very keen for them to stop sending material to landfill, and they wanted to find a way to reprocess the scrap material in other applications. Up until this point, this material was considered unrecyclable. The customer had found a partner in the injection molding industry, and they agreed to work together to find applications for the new recycled material. By recycling the material, the pair developed products that could incorporate a viable percentage of this polyethylene aluminium recycled pellets. The customer wanted to, the goals that they set us were to recycle 100% of their scrap product, of their barrier film and the PE aluminium laminated material. They needed a cost-effective and reliable solution with low running costs. You can see a picture of the two chairs. The seating part of the chairs are injection molded from this recycled aluminium polyethylene material. For this customer, we proposed to them an Amiga 250 water-cooled vented system with a roll feed and an elevator, a manual screen changer, water pelletizer to recycle the material, which, as I've mentioned, is 50% PE, 50% aluminium. We helped train the company, we gave them lots of ongoing support, and we helped them to fine-tune the material so that it ran perfectly in the injection molding machines. On this slide you can see another product that they injection mold. These are end caps for their reels. They also injection mold pallets and the side panels that they can put either side of their reels when they're strapping them to the pallets. Their feedback was that the Amiga machine was exceptional. They're repelletizing all of their scrap material. It's simple to operate and very energy efficient. Thanks to Plasmac, they were able to meet the needs of their brand owner and reach the goals of a circular economy business. Because this customer was landfilling their product, their return on investment was super impressive. They were paying €300 a tonne to the landfill, which was costing them €920,000 a year. By bringing the production in-house, their cost of production was €0.35 per kilo. That meant that it was costing them €460,000 a year to repelletize the material, and this gave them a return on investment of less than 6 months. These are a few examples of some machines in operation. The top left-hand corner is an Amiga that's used by an injection molding customer. The top middle is an Amiga Eco water-cooled for biodegradable film. This customer is recycling all of the bag cutouts. The top right picture is a bubble film manufacturer. They have an Amiga Eco air-cooled and they recycle the reels or their trims. The bottom left is a customer that takes startup scrap from all of the other blown film businesses within his area, and he repelletizes all of the material and uses that material to produce garbage or can liners. And the bottom right hand corner is an Amiga 250 that's actually installed in Mexico at JEP or GEPP, who are Pepsi Cola's packaging supplier. Here they have an Amiga 250 and 3 Alpha 60 machines. Now I'd like to take you through some of the latest developments of the Syncro group. Syncro produce dosing units, both batch and continuous. They produce automatic airings, supervisory systems, IBC systems, centralized conveying systems, and gauging systems for both blown and cast film. They have 121 employees and growing, and subsidiaries, as I showed you earlier, all over the world, and they're based in Busto Arsizio near Milan, Italy. I'd like to take you through 4 of their products. The first one is called Smart Drain. A question is, how much does it cost to change the product on your extrusion line if you're making a product change from one to the other? How long does it take you to drain the material? How do you handle that drained material? How do you keep the cleaning, how do you keep the working area clean? How do you avoid blender contamination? How do you stop your material being lost? And how do you reduce your scrap production? The less time to drain and change the production basically means less costs, and it also means you have a more efficient machine because you're up and running more quickly. Also, by stopping material falling around the machines, you're making a much safer working environment for your employees. And one of the biggest issues, the operator drains each of the blenders or each of the components of the blenders, and they put it in bags or they put it in bins, but then they forget what material went into which bucket or which bag, and basically that material becomes scrap. One of the key initiatives of the EU Circular Economy Action Plan is preventing pellet loss during the cleaning operation. And again, Smart Drain is a fantastic system to allow you to meet the Circular Economy Action Plan. Smart Drain is a patented system from Syncro. It allows fast changeover, self-cleaning, minimised waste, material traceability, and an improvement in operator health and safety. Here you can see an example of the Smart Drain. On the left-hand side, you can see the valve is in the closed position because the machine is running and the blenders are dosing into the extruder. On the right-hand side, you can see the Smart Drain valve in the open draining position. Here, the blenders are draining into the drain collector, and a vacuum system then transports the material away to be bagged or put into day bins. You can have single or multiple pickup points depending on the level of investment that you wish to make. A single pickup point basically would drain each extruder and its blenders in turn to a single pickup point. The operator, once one component has drained, would then swap the bag or the bin for the next one and then drain that material directly into the bag or the bin, for instance. Or you can have multiple pickup points where you can drain all of the extruders at the same time. This makes for an even quicker changeover between products. On each of the pickup points, there is a QR code printer. The QR code printer prints a QR code adhesive label. That adhesive label can then be stuck on the bin or the bag, so you have complete material traceability. If you're draining some of the additives that go into blown films, stabilizers, etc., these are incredibly expensive materials, and by avoiding having to scrap them by not knowing which they are, this means you get significant savings. Looking at a return on investment example, if you did 300 product changes per year, you would save approximately 120 hours. The production over 120 hours on a medium capacity line could be as much as 72 tonnes per year. And if you took a 10% margin, that would give you a €7,200 per year return. The material loss could be around 720 kilos per year. And the purge time savings could be as much as 24 tonnes per year. This would give you a saving on raw materials of over €37,000. The cost of the Smart Drain system on a 5 extruder, 4 component machine would be approximately €20,000, and with the savings of €44,000, that would mean the machine would pay for itself within less than 6 months. It would help you meet the circular economy goal of no pellets into the environment. It would increase your safety of the working environment, it would save you raw materials, and it would increase your production efficiency due to the quicker changeovers. Reduce purge times to swap products, and you ensure that there's no material contamination. Basically, it allows you to make more profit. The second product I'd like to take you through is the Flyer and the Vortex. The Flyer is a triple lip airing. It's a carbon fibre dual skin airing, which means because of the carbon fibre, you get no moisture generation due to the cold air that you're pumping into your airing and your IBC. It gives you a significant improvement in the time to reach a good quality film due to the advanced automatic profile control technology, and can get you into good production in half the time of other airings. It's targeted at LD, linear, metallocene based films. As I mentioned, it's a triple lip airing. 2 of the lips are facing upwards, as in a standard dual lip airing design, but the third is pointing downwards, and with the unique IBC design, this gives you significantly increased outputs. This airing can go on die diameters from 60 to 850 millimeters, blowout ratios of 2 to 4, and thicknesses from 20 or below up to 160 microns. has a vertical height adjustment of 450 millimeters. Some examples of the products in production. So an FFS application, a die of 180 with a lay flat of 480 millimeters, 160 micron film. Here we would expect to see an increase in output of between 30 to 50%. If you were to supply Syncro your material recipes, they will actually put those output increases as guarantees in writing. An agri-stretch application is even more impressive. Here with an 815mm die, a lay flat of 3260 on a 25 micron film. Here you could see increases of between 20 and 40% in output, but the key one is that you also reduce the time required to drop the bubble to clean any PIB puddles on the airing inserts. And this can be increased from 5 days to 25 days. So rather than having to drop the bubble every 5 days, you would only have to drop the bubble just under once a month. This gives significant savings. For breathable film applications, a 500mm die, you can see the different characteristics there. Here you would expect to see a 20 to 50% increase. And for general purpose films, just taking a standard one of a 450mm die, 1800 lay flat, 55 micron. Here you can see anything between a 20 and an 80% increase in output. What also comes with the flyer is the Vortex IBC stack. This is a unique design that also can improve cooling performance by as much as 25%. On a standard IBC, air is blown onto the inside of the bubble, and this air will adhere to the inside bubble surface, and as the bubble travels up, that air will heat up and it will basically stick to the inside of your bubble, insulating your bubble from the cold air that you're pushing in. The Vortex design has the ridges up the outside of the stack, and this causes what we call turbulent microflows. These turbulent microflows break up this laminar airflow on the inside of your bubble, and basically mean that you're always pushing cold air into the bubble itself, into the plastic itself, and this gives you this 25% increase in cooling efficiency. Because we're causing this turbulent flow, this micro-turbulent flow will then cause any monomer drops that blow up from the die lips to basically be broken down into micro drops, and these are then exhausted through the IBC stack. Any monomer that does drop down towards the lips is then captured through a vacuum system on the bottom of the IBC and a foam insert, which basically will collect all of that PIB and stop it forming puddles on the bottom of your lip sets. And that's what allows you to increase the downtime from 5 days up to 25 days. The flyer and the Vortex come with a control system called Infinity. It's either a 15 or 21 inch touchscreen, PC, keyboard, printer, and as with all control systems, you have all of the functions that you need to run the line. Startup profile, actual previous, 2 sigma trends, polar profiles, the regulation profile of your APC system, your temperature control for your line and your dosing recipes. With the flyer, we found that you could increase production on a mid-size line from say 550 kilos an hour to 710. That's a 30% increase in output. That would give you 960 tons a year of increased output. If you took a margin on that of 10%, that would equate to 96,000 euros. The time to reach good production is taken down from about 30 minutes to 15 minutes. This would give you 64,000 tons a year of less scrap material. If you took that scrap material as having a 50% value of virgin, that would save you 32,000 euros a year. The cost of a flyer and Vortex and the control system is approximately £120,000, meaning that system would pay for itself in a year. The key there is less production scrap equals less wasted material, a clean, safe working environment around the die due to the single chamber inlet for the air. You save raw materials, you increase the production output of your line, basically you make more profits. The next product I'd like to take you through is the iron flat. There are three key features to high quality film. Profile distribution, or 2 sigma. This is improved by your automatic profile control system. Width tolerance. This is improved by your IBC with lay flat control. But what about flatness? Is my film flat? How can I improve my flatness? Basically, how do you know if your film isn't flat? You'll see bagginess in the film. Here's another example of bagginess in the film. We have what we call the iron flat. The iron flat we consider to be the third revolution in blown film design. The first revolution was oscillating Hall-offs to randomise thickness errors. Then came the automatic profile control to improve the gauge control on the blown lines. We now consider the iron flat to be the third revolution, and this is basically an annealing system to improve film flatness. It's a standalone annealing system for blown film lines, and basically it improves the film flatness, reduces camber, and allows you to increase printing speed, printing quality, and lamination performance. The iron flat stretches the film in the machine direction from 1 to 3% and uses 4 motorized temperature control rollers with differential speeds. This is where the iron flat would be installed within the line, and this is an example of what you'd see. On the left hand side you can see bagginess in the film, you can see camber on the edges of the film, so basically it's curling and shrinking at different rates. Once you put the film through the iron flat, you remove the bagginess, you remove the camber. An iron flat is great for label film, for tube lamination film, for lamination films, for wide lines with multiple reels, and for bag making film, for the welding quality on bag makers. Basically, it improves the film flatness and camber, and this leads to improvement in printing quality. Printing speeds can be increased on your printers by 25 to 35%, and it increases lamination quality. The key features: it has a semi-automatic web threader. The operator uses a chain to feed the film through the system. It has 4 thermo-regulated motorized rollers. It gives you maximum flexibility for preheating, stretching and cooling. The inlet can be either horizontal or vertical, and it has a fully adjustable cord length or stretching gap that you control via the software and recipe storage. There's no negative influences on the profile because there's minimal stretching, and it's available for film widths of 1200 millimeters up to 3000 millimeters. Here you can see an example of the inlet being vertical or horizontal, and the outlet also being vertical or horizontal. And here you can see the key components. You have the 4 TCU units to control each roll individually for temperature. You have the control cabinet and the iron flat itself. And on the right hand side you can see a control screen view where you can change the temperatures, the speeds, etc. to give you the orientation that you desire. The final product I'd like to take you through is our EYES system. So the EYES is Syncro Group's web inspection system. This is able to detect all forms of defect that may occur during film extrusion, film converting or non-wovens. The EYES guarantees 100% detection of surface defects for all film types, i.e. transparent, opaque, coloured, and it can run up to 1000 meters a minute and resolutions down to 25 microns. The EYES system allows the producer to improve their film quality by removing or detecting film contamination and providing a premium quality product to their customer. These are the types of defects that you would be able to detect, so fish eyes, bright gels, paraffin or splashes, insects, scratches, dye lines, bubbles, holes, particles or wrinkles. This is where the EYES system would be installed, so just above the winder after the secondary haul-off. The final thing I want to talk to you about is service. I'm a firm believer that the salesperson sells the first machine, but your service and support sell all your subsequent machines. One of the things that Syncro can offer is our spares on the web package. Every single machine that the Syncro Group sells has its own unique QR code. When you scan that QR code, you go directly into the Syncro Hub, our dedicated web portal. Once in the hub, the customer will have direct access to their machine, allowing them to download manuals, electrical schematics, maintenance tutorials, plus they can select any spare part they require and will directly email them a quotation. When the customer enters the hub, they'll go into their profile. Here they'll be able to select the machine that they wish to investigate, if they have multiple machines, for instance. Then they can drill down into that machine. This will tell them the serial number of the machine, when they purchased it, the hours of assistance that they had so far, and the pieces that they purchased. So the description of the equipment, plus any attachments for that equipment. And then when they drill down one level further, they can actually go into exploded diagrams of each and every component on that machine, so they can identify the exact spare part they require, and they can then put that into their basket, into their order basket, and basically order it directly from us. The other product that we've just launched, driven primarily by the COVID situation, is remote service and support. How can we support our customers in these difficult times? Basically, we have a remote assistance software package designed using smart video glasses. This allows the customer's technical team or operations team to link directly to the Syncro group experts. Information and instructions can be passed visually and verbally by a two-way system, and we can basically remedy even the most complex of issues. The remote technicians can even send documents and user guides straight to the inside of the smart glasses, so the operator will physically see instructions come up on the inside of the glasses, literally like it was a heads-up unit appearing directly before their eyes. What it allows us to do is to do live video and audio streaming over and above the glasses. You will also wear earplugs so that we can talk to each other. It allows us to share documents and images. We can instant message. We can do video recording. We can capture images and screenshots, and we can even highlight parts that we need the operator or the maintenance manager to look at. So we can take a screenshot and draw a circle around it and say, please check this contactor. Please check this display on the inverter, for instance. The benefits are, it gives a very fast response time. It gives you much higher productivity, and it minimizes travel costs. If we can help you remotely, we don't have to send an engineer to site, and it removes the cost associated with that. But in this day and age, even being able to get an engineer to site is a challenge in itself. Thank you very much for your time, and I'm now happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Simon, thank you very much. Now we are going to start with the questions. We have one here that says, what levels of contamination in printing or laminate terms can a Plasmac equipment handle?
We've supplied systems that can handle up to 100% print coverage. Here we would use a dual venting system to remove the ink. So we have done systems up to 100% ink coverage. In terms of contamination, if it's highly contaminated, then we would normally recommend either a hydraulic screen changer or probably a fully automatic back flushing screen changer. So this would allow you to remove the highest levels of contamination possible.
Okay, we have another one, and it says, does Plasmac equipment have FDA grade approval?
We have customers that use it within the food packaging industry. I'm not sure if they have FDA approval. I believe they do, but rather than giving a definitive answer on that one, I'd be happy to check with them and then answer that question via email to confirm it. More than happy to do that. But certainly our equipment is used very regularly in the food packaging industry. So my assumption would be yes, that it does.
The last one, it says, I was watching those inspection systems that offer could be installed on other machines than theirs?
Yes, absolutely. This is the EYES system is a retrofittable system that can basically be installed on any brand of extrusion line and any brand of printing line, for instance. So it is a retrofittable item that is basically designed to be installed on any brand of line.
Okay, perfect. It seems we don't have any other questions. I'm going to check. But okay, we don't have any more questions. So we want to thank you, Mr. J, for this very complete and professional exposition. We hope see you again in another moment.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for your time.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Gracias a todos los asistentes. Los esperamos en la próxima conferencia en exactamente 9 minutos.